Look up something called the Akashic Records, started by Helena Blesfaz. I don't want to butcher her name. It sounds German. It started in 1875. It's a movement that started by a theosophical group or a theosophist, if that's how you pronounce the name as well. Akashic Records. What are the Akashic Records? The theosophists and the most modern century believed it to be an aspect of the mental plane, but in reality, it's much higher than that. It's also the Helena woman that I mentioned. She considered it to be an aspect of the astral light. That's what the Helena woman believed it to be. But from what I'm gathering here, from what I'm gathering, but for what I'm gathering here, in combination with all that I've learned thus far, the Akashic Records, in reality, what they are, an aspect of the quantum realm, or an aspect of quantum energy, or the quantum, you know what, I'm going to just say the way I want to say it, the quantum ego. That's what the Akashic Records are, an aspect of the quantum ego. Let me explain this to you real quick, if you would like to listen. The Akashic Records is like a spiritual library in a sense. It's a spiritual library. It holds the records of all things that ever happened in the past, the present, the future, and every universe that ever existed ever. What is quantum in actuality? Did you know quantum, when you actually look at the word, it's the study of God action. It's the study of God's energy in action. Or it's another word used that, like frequency. The word frequency is a word used to measure things. Measure words. That's what I was trying to tell you. Measure words. Words like quantum, words like frequency, words like hertz. Those are measure words. What am I ultimately getting at? First, give you some examples of what I'm getting to. Words like quantum are measure words that measure the energy of God's or God's activity, should I say? Yeah, I'm gonna say God's activity. That's how I'm gonna put it to you. Words like quantum are words that we use to label and describe God's activity, meaning source activity, the source of life activity, life force activity, the energy of life force activity. You follow what I'm saying? How it's directed to and from where it's at to where it's going, to where it needs to land, to where it needs to end, where it starts at, to where it mediates, to where it ends. You follow what I'm saying? That's what the word quantum, the measure word quantum is used to label and describe or to measure. Then you got words like frequency. Those are used to measure waves. That's a word used to measure waves, oscillations, things of that nature, cycles per minute and things of that nature. Then you also have words like hertz. Hertz is used to measure sound waves, right? Sound waves. You know that did you know that a man by the name of Heinrich Rudolf Hertz is the one who invented the word hertz. He's the father of it. And he used radio waves to measure electromagnetic waves. That's what he did, according to what it said in the article, if I'm correct or not. If not, go look it up for yourself and see. Heinrich Rudolf Hertz. He's the father of the Hertz title for the definition of what's in the SI unit for frequency, the SI unit of frequency. The SI unit of frequency, SI meaning System International. It's a France way to use the 7 SI base units that the world uses to measure all kinds of waves. All waves. The 7 base SI units, it measures all waves. So, what I was getting at, like the woman Helena, 1875, the Akashic Records. The Akashic Records is an aspect of the quantum measurements and or God's source of energy or life force. I pray you get what I'm saying. I want to make sure it's clear for you. The Akashic records are an aspect of the quantum realm. That's what the Akashic records are, an aspect of the quantum realm. It's not exactly the mental space, nor is it specifically the astral light. It's higher than that. The Akashic records are a higher power than that. The Akashic records are our most high God's faculty traits. That's what the Akashic records are, according to what I've studied. That's what they are. But I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. Why do I want to make this video here? I got something I'd like to share with you called a 9-dimensional foundation parable. A 9-dimensional foundational parable. 9-dimensional foundation. 9D foundation, or 9D grounds. Remember, as I keep saying, I'm trying to get you all to a 9-dimensional type of thinking mind. A 9-dimensional thinking mind. That's what I'm trying to get you to. Things like the Akashic records, things like that need to be mentioned or need to be said out loud or talked about. Things like the quantum and what it really is. What it really is a measurement word. Quantum, what it really is a measurement word. Quantum realm. Yeah, you can say quantum realm because let's not forget, in order to, you have to be able to see a realm to measure what the realm is, right? Once you see something, you begin to measure it or analyze it or study it or contemplate it. You follow what I'm saying? As soon as you see it, you have to see it and hear it in order for it to begin to register in your mind space as something to either take in or reject. But either way it goes, you have to see it first. Once you see it, you can't unsee it until you force yourself to forget about it. Or unless you were made to forget about it, as everybody alive was. Which is why I'm about to share this 9-dimensional parable with you. But that's the first thing I want to share. It's about the Akashic records being an aspect of the quantum realm, or the quantum space, or the Akashic records are an aspect of God's activity. The Akashic records are an aspect of God's activities. What are some of God's activities? It's primarily mental. Primarily mental energy is the true God's activities, meaning the God of the universe, the life force energy, where the King of Kings come from, where my actual mind comes from. The quantum ego, as I like to call it. The measurement of the Most High's activities and how they mediate to and through my mind unto my body. I figured more things out. The Akashic records are an aspect of the quantum space, or God's source space. That's what the Akashic records are. Source activity, life force source activity. Moving forward. So the 9-dimensional space, or the 9-dimensional parable, 9-dimensional foundation. I desire to get you all to a 9-dimensional thinking mind. Here is exactly why right here. The 9-dimensional foundation. So, the first 4. You can label and describe it as the gravitational force, number 1, or positive energy. Number 2 space, dimensional aspect. You can label and describe it as electromagnetic force, or the negative energy, in a subtle way. Then you got number 3, the nuclear strong force, or the balance energy of the universe. That's what the first 3 are. Positive, negative, balance. Those are the first 3. Then you have the 4th one, the space you are in. That's the 4th one. Take those 4 right quick. Place them as the foundational entry into, see it as like a foundational entry into the ethereal mind first. It's like I'm taking you into a step into moral perfection for a moment. Like step into a little bit of moral perfection for a moment. Those foundational 4. Let those register for a moment and get ready to walk with me as I go for the rest of the 5. The positive energy of the universe, the negative energy of the universe, the balance energy of the universe, and the quiescent energy of the universe. We live in a quiescent space that can be whatever we wish it to be. And it just so happens that this quiescent space naturally is connected to the life force itself, the positive energy. That's what the positive energy is going to represent for the 4-dimensional story right here. The life force itself, where nothing but absolute, true, unconditional love stems from. The universe's unconditional love stems from the life force of the universe. The universe's unconditional love stems from the life force of the universe. And so do the Akashic records. And the word quantum is used to measure the activity of this life force I speak of. That makes sense to you? So, positive energy is life force energy. Next, balanced energy, or the negative energy. The negative energy is what could be labeled and described as the electromagnetic force itself. It is where flesh is able to come from. It is where fire is able to come from. It is where, due to it being due to its nature being the concealment of light thereof, it is where lightning comes from as well. And due to it being in the mix, or due to it being in the way, John 14:6. Due to it being in the way, it is also where balance energy is necessary, and where balance energy comes from as well. Due to the electromagnetic force and what it is at its root core, mixing with what's the positive and or the first foundation is at its root core, the balance energy is born, which is now the third space here of the four, the first four, the balance space. The balance space, the strong nuclear force, the strong nuclear force. The strong nuclear force is also the astral realm, or the astral light. The strong nuclear force, if you would like to, you don't have to buy this. If you don't want to, you don't have to. The strong nuclear force is also the astral light. It just makes sense to me for right now. It's the astral realm itself, or the astral measurement, or the measurements of the astral realm, the characteristics thereof. Remember, this is foundational talk. Foundational talk. Recognize each moral ground there is for you to possibly stand on, and how they're all actually in one. Recognize how it's all in one at the same time. Don't forget, 9 is a single number, isn't it? Even 13 is a single number, isn't it? But let's just think about 9 for a moment. But the first 4, back to them. Third one, the balance energy of the universe. Due to the mixture of the negative and the positive, the balance is born. The balance then creates the ether, or it creates the reality itself that we are in. But due to not all of the energy blending properly, now there's a fifth element to this story to add. Now we step into the 5-dimensional space where the solar plexus resides. Real quick, the first and or second dimensional thinking minds reside in what it could be labeled and described as an aspect of the Earth star chakra. The planet is a 2-dimensional thinking mind aspect, or a 2-dimensional thinking mind life form. The planet itself is a 2-dimensional thinking mind life form. It has a 2-dimensional thinking mind, or a 2-dimensional foundation. It is just a life form we reside on top of. That's what the planet is itself, a life form we reside on top of that gives us infinite food if we till to it the right way. How can we do anything the right way as the root chakra, 3-dimensional beings we are physically? How can we do anything correctly when we ourselves are not correct? You want to know the answer to that question? You can't, which is why I'm telling you this story, for my reasons to tell you the story. The 9-dimensional foundation parable. So, drawing information from all lifetimes and all eons of all history, I'm just going to tell you this story from now on, or continue telling this story now to you now. The third, the balanced, created the reality we are inside of, aka the ether. Using the light of its strong nuclear force thereof, gave us the fourth space. The weak nuclear force, in other words. The weak nuclear force is what we live in. That's our physical reality's makeup at its core. The weak nuclear force. That's what it could be labeled and described. Or at least that's just some of the information that ties to what I need you to hurry up and connect some more dots to. This is going to help. That's all it's going to do. The more you learn, the more you rise. Moving forward here. So, keep recognizing moral foundation. Keep recognizing moral perfection. This is moral perfection I'm speaking to you with. Moral perfection. The three-dimensional thinking mind is of the root chakras aspect, or according to the information that's lined up for it to be thereof. Now we have the four-dimensional thinking mind, that is of the sacral chakras aspects. Once you reach the four-dimensional thinking mind foundation, you will have full awareness of what moral perfection truly is. Reach the four-dimensional thinking mind pronto. Reach the four-dimensional thinking mind pronto. Have full recognition of all positive energy of the universe and where it comes from and its source. Quickly do that so you ain't gotta be in some mid-conversation with all of these extra galaxy words to say and whatnot. Come on, shorten the story. Just get to the point. Get to the meat and potatoes, right? Get to the point quickly, right? Then have the knowledge of the stem of negative energy so you can apply it to the characteristics of the reality you are in. That's another reason why I'm saying these words out loud to you. Be able to apply these stories to the characteristics of the reality you're in or the people you deal with in the day-to-day reality. Notice the characteristics. It's just characteristics. What do I mean by characteristics? The mental and moral qualities distinctive to you or distinctive to an individual. Distinctive, instinctive, however you want to see. Moral perfection. Positive, negative, balanced, reality space. Recognize where you are in life. Recognize how you'd like to stand. Aspect of the sacral chakra, four-dimensional thinking mind, the virtuous space, sacral. Moving forward, five-dimensional thinking mind. Now here we go. The solar plexus chakra. After the four, there's the fifth one now. The fifth thing to add to the list to make this a proper five-dimensional stance exercise so you can see five things at once or have five things registered at one time so you can label and describe something else that'll be more effective in a sense for the people who are listening to you explain it. What is the fifth element of this story here? What is the fifth aspect? What is the fifth dimension? What is the fifth thing that makes this a fifth dimensional part of the story? The thing that was born after the foundational four funded and or structured reality together. This one thing that was born from it. Remember, I always got my eyes on the root of the problem. I always keep my eyes on the root of the problem. This one thing that did not blend into the fabric of reality after its fundamental foundational four things created it. And those fundamental four things became one. Those four things became one. Those four things became one. But then there was a piece of those four things that became one, that did not want to become one with those four things. So it separated itself from them. Or should I say, it just didn't blend in properly with the fabric of the universe's makeup in its process of being created. It had a mind of its own, huh? Or at least it gained the ability to have a mind of its own, using our properties to do so, just like it does through the people in real life, huh? So it gained a mind of its own, using our fundamental four properties to do so, almost like it wants to turn four angels against we. I know what I'm talking about. I just need you to know faster of what I am talking about. The faster you know of what I am talking about, the better. Four corners, right? Yeah. Foundational four. We're connected to the universe itself. It'll make sense to you later if you've listened to this point. Moving forward. So, the fifth thing, the fifth angel, so to speak, the fifth thing that came out of our bodies when the King of Kings performed the exodus on we to save us from it. This fifth thing that told loose the four angels, angels of spiritual being, four elemental four aspects, loose the four angels. That story there, it ties into this as well. It's what I'm getting at ultimately. That story ties into this a little bit. It ties into my 9-dimensional story a little bit. Ultimately, is what I'm getting at. Moving forward. So yeah, it wants to turn our fundamental four aspects against us, meaning our four fundamental behavioral processes against us. That's what this demon in the fifth dimensional space, the fifth dimensional reading, or the fifth dimensional part of the story that I'm at now, it wants to do. It wants to turn our four fundamental characters and behaviors against us, meaning it wants to turn positive things against us. It wants to turn negative things against us. But it is the negative thing, and the worst part of negativity in the universe itself. It's the worst, most, no, you do not need to be here at all type of negative force. You follow what I'm saying? But then you have the subtle negative energy. The subtle negative energy, the one that's giving us our abilities to have flesh and whatnot. And the one that's actually controlling the funnel of life force to enter our realities, to make us flesh people and electrons and whatnot. You see? But then you got the aspect of electrons that did not blend with the universe. That there's your devil, literally. And the sixth part of the story, the devil's sword, is what I am getting to momentarily. But first, let's talk more about this devil a little bit. So, the fifth part of the story, the fifth dimensional part of the story. Are you getting it now? The first four dimensions, positive energy, that's the first dimension. Second dimension was the negative energy. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to put it in this order for a moment because of the electromagnetic force and the relation between the gravitational force and electromagnetic force. And then the strong nuclear force, the one in which those two created balance energy. And then the fourth one, the quiescent one, the dead space, or the space you are in, period, reality. Done. Foundational four. Once you have full awareness of that, you're just automatically into the ethereal ground and or ethereal mind. You will stand in the ethereal mind automatically. So now rise up from there. Now rise up from the ethereal mind. Go higher now. It should be really easy for you all to grasp an aspect or grasp a habitual lock-in for, oh my goodness, man. It should really be easy for you all to grasp a four-dimensional habitual lock-in. It should be easy for you to do so. It should be. It's only difficult because of how you were raised. And only because of how you were raised. The thing is, we have the power to correct decades of trauma in minutes. You want to know how? Because we can do anything, like fix the sword's issues for having its own personal jealousies. But before I go to the sixth dimension, the fifth one now. The fifth one real quick. The one that didn't blend in, the remnant of her seed, the remnant of her seed. That's the fifth dimension. The remnant of her seed is the fifth dimensional aspect of the story here. That's the remnant of her seed. This issue, or this fifth dimensional issue, or this fifth dimensional thing is the main issue, the main problem of the entire world as we know it. This fifth thing to this story, this is how close it is to our most vital livelihood. This is why I put it there at the 5th, because it's that close to our vital livelihood. And if it keeps on gaining all of the control, so to speak, that it has over our vital livelihoods, it can keep using our vital livelihoods, still using the quotation fingers. It can keep using our vital livelihoods against us. And that's ultimately what I'm getting at with this story here. This 5th dimensional aspect to the story, meaning the piece of reality that didn't blend in with the reality that we know of, because it's like it went from the electromagnetic force to saying, hey, if you're going to blend the rest of me in with you, I'm going to give myself a body and just poof, there you go. What would have happened if the ethereal, or if the of this electronic being that I speak of, because it's like the personification of negative energy in physical form, that's what it is. Electron energy in physical form. That's what the entire makeup of this so-called world leader is. This one individual, one thing. Is it powerful? Oh, you bet. How do you think it got its way? How do you think it got its way right now? It's powerful. Due to its makeup here, the way it is, if it would have blended in with the fabric of the rest of the universe in the beginning of the time, the entire universe itself would have been an individual man. Meaning the entire galaxy. You don't have to buy that if you don't want to. Sounds far-fetched, doesn't it? It's just a measurement. Just a logical based assumption. Just a logical based assumption. Based on what the information you all have all here for me to label and describe what I am trying to tell you about ourselves here. Our power comes from the life source. Our power comes from the life force. Not the people outside of us. Our power comes from the life force. Who we are comes from the life force's art, not the people outside of us, is what I'm ultimately trying to tell you here. I'm just gathering and making life-based assumptions on what it would be if no disturbances happen to it. Our original essence and its true nature would have become the universe itself. You follow what I'm saying? It would have just been one individual self as a universe, just sitting there all day. Sounds boring, huh? Like the Namekians from Dragon Ball sound boring? Just one dude who's just barfing eggs out of his mouth to create more of him. It's kind of what we would have been like. No, seriously. We would have been a universe that barfed other universes. We would have been universes that barfed Hyraneagrabus to help us do what? Till nothingness, till the air, till the space that our galaxy person self is around. Yeah. Or just wolf stuff into existence because we have all this power. And we're just infinite, literal infinite beings just out here. It's what we would have been if the remnant of her seed went in and blended with the rest of the universe versus trying to become a mind of its own in the process of the universe forming. If this makes sense to you. That's what I'm ultimately trying to get at. At least I just wanted to put that out there. That assumption. I just want to put that assumption out there. The more you learn, the more you rise. Even in my assumptions, you gain something. Even in my theories, you gain something. No matter what. Like I said in that joke video, it was supposed to be a joke video. What if we get all of our soul liberation and global child manumission under the way and incorrect or correct and proper motion and within proper fashion? Global child manumission, soul liberation, global child manumission. What if that actually takes root and plays out and manifests? We would have control over all of the world's infinite resources, meaning we won't be putting billions of dollars into wars. We will be putting billions of proper dollars into stem cell research, global reverse Yakub experiment, right? And then we can have harnessing over all the technology thereof, and we can travel outside of the universe and get an overview of the universe itself. Then we can really see how it looks. No more speculations. We're going to see if the world is flat or not. Right? We're going to see if we can actually go through the firmament, right? If we gain control over what is ours, we can use it to explore it properly. Can't we? And once we gain control over what is ours, this universal life force that holds our Akashic records as well. We can use it to explore it properly, couldn't we? That way, we can really prove the shape of our universe. Whether it be round, as I know it actually is, based on the stories that we have that we're in our reality, due to this devil not blending properly with the reality. I know it's round because of that logic right there. If the devil did blend properly with the reality that we have today, what if the universe's shape would have been the shape of a black man? Right? I said that in that video, in that short that I made a while back. Yeah. What if the shape of the universe was a black man? That's why I said that. That's a joke. Because I know it's not. It's round. The entire universe is round as we all know it. What if, though? It would be, actually, if the fifth element to this here story did not become a remnant of her seed, meaning the ether realm itself. The ethereal realm itself is her, the real her, the virtuous woman that I was telling you about. Is it an actual woman? No. The ethereal realm is genderless. It's technically just air. You follow what I'm saying? But the ethereal realm is technically just air. So this so-called government of ours, its origins is what I'm ultimately talking about as well. The so-called government of ours is the remnant of this here ethereal realm that didn't necessarily blend in with the fabric of it and became itself. And now it rules us with fire and lightning and anger and jealousy. Long story short. Sixth dimensional aspect. Now, the sword. The devil's sword right now currently. And where is it currently? It's inside of the seventh aspect of the story. You see where I'm getting at now? If you start listening. The seventh spot of this story needs to tap into the eighth spot of this story. The seventh spot of this story needs to tap into the eighth spot of this story. What's the eighth spot of this story? Nature of the King of Kings. Nature of the King of Kings. You want to know what an eighth dimensional thinking mind is? In the third eye chakra. You know where the seventh dimensional thinking mind is? In the throat chakra. Calling you all melanated people of the world, because you are the seventh part of the story. Get ready to do the right thing. Every pun intended. Moving forward. So, the sixth part of the story. Who do you guess they are? Yeah, every non-melanated individual on this planet who is taking bits of the seventh spot of this story, the melanated people of the planet, just one thing to measure, and are using them against us. As the devil, the fifth part of this story, has our fundamental four things, the first four parts of this story, doing. If you've been listening thus far. The eighth part of this story is the King of Kings, awareness. The awareness of the King of Kings. Actually, yeah, it is. It's just the awareness. But then there's more that you need. It's more that you need. You need the ninth part of the story. But in order to get to the ninth part of the story, you have to gain a lot more knowledge and awareness of the eighth part of the story, melanated people, seventh part of the story, seventh dimensional aspect of their story here. What the devil is targeting physically to attack the fundamental foundational four, reversefully, if that makes sense to you. Because the thing is, she can't physically, no weapon formed against our fundamental four aspects will prosper at all. Their life force energy. In its whole entirety, the fundamental four is our literal source of life force energy. Nothing forged we can only forge things from it. No weapon forged against it shall prosper. But the thing is, she's playing God, or this demon is playing God, you see. So it's just going to try to make it prosper. And it's using the sixth part of the story to attack the seventh part of the story in order to make this happen properly. If this makes sense to you now. Black people are the seventh part of the story. White people are the sixth part of the story. The devil is the fifth part of the story. And the fundamental four fundamental elements of human behavior are the first four things of the story. This is the eighth part here. The King of Kings, he's the eighth element to the story. The eighth element to the story is the awareness of the King of Kings, acceptance of the King of Kings, reincarnation of the King of Kings, and the application. Or, I said it wrong, didn't I? The awareness, the acceptance, the application. Stop there. Because then the ninth part of the story is the domination. Conquering the space you are in with it. It's going to be the hardest part. Want to know why? Because the ninth dimensional thinking mind is an aspect of the crown chakra, where the devil's bulk of influence resides. It's the whole aspect of the story here. Now, what's the bulk of the devil's influence? Jealousy. Jealousy is what gives you fear. Jealousy is what gives you greed. Jealousy is what gives you gluttony. Jealousy is what gives you ignorance. Jealousy is what gives you prejudice. Jealousy is what gives you lust. You are willing to go long miles to tear someone down from the way they are. Especially our women. Jealousy resides the heaviest in our women. Because let's never forget, everything in the world is telling them to hate us for being us. Why? Because we ain't got what you got. That's not an actual reason. You're just saying it because you want to tear us down. Jealousy's not even real. You're just making things up so you can attack us for no reason. Y'all do know this, right? Just making things up so they can attack and destroy us all for no reason. At the end of the day, titles are meaningless. Like the Akashic title is meaningless. The Quantum title is meaningless. All of it's meaningless at the end of the day. It all is. Every title out here is meaningless at the end of the day. It really is. There's just something really evil attacking us and destroying our lives for shits and giggles. Seriously. All day long. Nothing else. At the end of the day, that's all it is. And it's using these so-called white people who in reality were just people stolen from us a long time ago and grafted into something that cannot be reached anymore. Turned into a sword and bored into the seventh aspect of the dimensional story and being used to hold them down by way of those fundamental four that I mentioned. Turning them against them. Real simple story. But then there's the eighth part of the story. The I, Father, God, who will enter the fray to kick her off if you allow him to. You just gotta think about it first, literally. Kick the demon off, pull the sword out, sheathe it, pick you up, fuse. Resurrection time. And now there she goes again, getting on up. 9-dimensional final battle. Quantum ego merged, meaning you got awareness of the ego and what it really is, so you don't have to worry about her telling you that it's getting in your way. As a matter of fact, if somebody says that to you, you mean to tell me that my source is getting in my way? Because here's the thing, the ego is what's mediating life force to your body. So you must hate the life force characteristics of the world. That's why you tell us these bad things about ego. Because when you look at the word ego, it talks about a sense of self-respect, a sense of self-love, a sense of self-care, a sense of self-identity. Self-identity. Self-identity? What is self, spirit, soul? Oh, so spirit, soul's identity, yes. A sense of your spirit, soul's identity is what ego is. How do you gain a sense of your Akashic Records quantum identities? They register in your mind space and into your body, don't they? That's an aspect of the ego's characteristics. Actually, that is what the ego is. You just tell us it is not. You want to know why? Because you want to kill us all day long from the inside out. I can just see how you're doing it in every way now. I'm just going to share stories. Maybe one day, these barriers you put up preventing the melanated people from hearing me, and maybe even helping me present this message even better to the melanated grouping of people that I desire to be around in the seventh part of the story. This is why you're preventing this message from being spread. Or maybe it's just I have a certain look that people can't bear. Or maybe maybe I should be trying harder, right? Or maybe I should, your fault, no matter what. Okay, so maybe I should work like 4 jobs and not be able to record anything at all. Maybe I should, stop smoking, huh? I'm working on that. I just came out of the gym a few hours ago. So I got this water here too. I drink a lot of water. Trying to rid myself of the poison that the world put out here for me to have in the first place. What is the world right now currently? Oh, it's the world's fault though, huh? It's always my fault at the end of the day. Gotta remember that. Somehow you just gotta make it, you gotta believe it's your fault because that's what they want you to believe. It's all what they want at all times, you see. And how do they get what they want? By figuring out what you want so they can want the opposite at all times. How does that work? I want to drink some of this water. Okay, I don't want to drink the water. You see, that's how it works in a sense. It's so stupid, man. It's really, oh my God, it's so stupid, yo. And it's all a game that little girls play, you know? But here's the reality. That's what governs our lives. So, how do we beat this, right? What's the first step? Awareness. Awareness of what? The king of all kings characteristics. The first step. You want to know why it's the first step? And you want to know why it's actually the first step? Because this demon in the 5th spot is always there night and day, telling you to be the opposite of it. Remember what you want. You, who art thou? You are this 8th dimensional aspect I speak of, the 3rd eye chakra. You are it. I'm your king. And when you merge this egoic self of yours with the source it's actually mediating from versus the source outside of you that's trying to tell you is mediating from, Proverbs 23:7, as one thinketh in his heart, so is he. The life force of the Akashic Quantum, of the Quantum Akashic's characteristics, the Akashic Quantum Akashic, Theosophist, Quantum Akashic life force. Okay. The Quantum Akashic life force, the life force, Akashic Quantum. The ego mediates energy from that space to your body. That's what the ego actually does. It's a part of the mind or neuromuscular junction, or it's the energy within the neuromuscular junction. That's what the ego is. Then again, it's like, because when you look at what part of the brain ego is a part of, or ego represents, it'll tell you like the frontal lobe and the real real cortex and things of that nature. But ego is like a mixture of the matter of the brain and the immaterial of the spirit or the mind. You follow what I'm saying? That's what ego is. Ego is like a synapse. You follow what I'm saying? Like synapse energies. You see, that's what ego actually is for us in the reality, not according to what the society wants us to believe it is. It's bad. In reality, they just want to tell you it's bad because they want you to feel like our quantum Akashic life force energy is bad. That's what they want you to feel like, or the characteristics of them thereof. Because if those get in the world and they get into your mind and begin to register and be the characteristics and or the mental and moral qualities you have thereof, those will be the grounds you operate off of, not the ones that want you to walk into war, hatred, division, and stagnance. The ones that want you to walk into peace, love, unity, and advancement. Moral perfection, you see. They want you to walk in good balance. No negativity, or at least no out of control negativity. Because let's not forget, in order to have balance, there has to be a negative presence there that would imbalance it if the good did not have things under control, you see, in the space that you are in. You see? That's the ultimate point of the story there, if you get it. So in other words, the 9-dimensional space, or the 9th aspect of this story, is us using the King of Kings in those first 3 points of the story to dominate the space we are in, or to take over the world logos. Yeah, that's how you can see it. The conquering of the world logos, the soul theocracy, application of the soul theocracy, or walking in the soul theocracy, or living by the soul's principles forever. That's what the 9-dimensional aspect is. Us beating the devil out of the way, the jealousy grounds finally beating them out of the way, and establishing God's kingdom worldwide, soul liberation and global child manumission. Remove the splinters from your children's eyes, global child manumission, reverse it. Remove the planks from your eye, soul liberation, and remove the splinters from your children's eye, global child manumission. You see, move the planks, quantum ego, or the fusion, Akashic ego. How about that? Because the ego is a part of the brain that is mediating or connecting us or converting life force energy from our brain to the rest of our body. That's what ego helps to do. Helps. It's just a piece, a part of your entire magnificent, unique makeup, you magnificent, astonishing individual you. Remember, my higher self can't stop loving you. My lowest self despises you greatly, but my actual self just wants things to be right around us all times. I didn't mention that in the previous video. It's like 3 me's in one, or 3 me's in one reality. That's what it is for me right now. It's 3 me's in one reality, and the 3 me's are trying to become one in this one reality, all one. Global village. My God, more normality, my wife, and my farm, in that order. That type of talk. All those things I was saying. So, yeah. The application of the soul theocracy, once we have the reawakening, reincarnation, and the resurrection internally. This is the 8th point of the story to get to. That's all it is. That the 7th people are going to do once the 8th part of the story comes in, kicks the devil off, takes the sword out, sheathes the sword, fuses with the person. Awareness, reincarnation, resurrection. That she's going to get back, or it's going to get back up and try to put the greed and the gluttony and the lust and the ignorance and the false pride, the negative false pride. The only satisfaction you should have are for the ways of the heart of hearts principles. Principle heart of hearts. Have satisfaction for its way and its principle. That's the only thing you should have satisfaction for, because that's who you are. That's what you are there. You are principle heart of hearts student, or principle heart of hearts disciple, or principle heart of hearts. We're this principle heart of hearts universe. This universe is principle heart of hearts school. That's what this universe is. This universe belongs this is the University of Reality. You got University of Michigan, right? University of Penn State and all of that. Y'all watch NCAA? I used to. My team was the Wolverines, Michigan. That's what I wanted to. So that was my biggest team right there. I also used to watch Eastern Michigan University. I almost went there, and I was almost a student at Eastern Michigan University. I almost was. But yeah, at any rate, this whole universe is the universe of reality, University of Reality. And we have a universal principle in our reality. Its name is Heart of Hearts. Principle Heart of Hearts is the principle of reality. Principle Heart of Hearts is the principle of reality. Principle meaning the fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for a system of belief, behavior, or for a chain of reasoning. Belief, behavior for a chain of reasoning. That's what the Heart of Hearts is. A fundamental truth or proposition that serves. Our truth comes from the quantum Akashic life force. Information is Akashic. Quantum is the measurement, and the life force is what it is. I refuse to mislead you. I just looked at these words. I just looked at all these answers. I just looked at them. They connect with what I'm trying to tell you overall.